We have 6 minutes, guys. Get that way out.
Okay, the 2024 Norra 1000. It's a race we ran last year in 2023. We broke 30 miles to the finish. It was a heartbreak. We had a year to think about that, a year to say all the what ifs, and we shouldn't have pushed in the dust behind that guy and everything that happened. But we're here now. We finished the race, and it was a pretty good time. Starts off with qualifying. It's the first time that I ever qualified for an off-road race. Never had to do that before. Qualified 16th. Out of, I think, 70-something cars in the UTV in the Pro 2000 class. We're sat in the car for about an hour, queued up to do qualifying, and this whole time you're hearing people rolling over and all sorts of stuff going on, so we knew we were going to dial it down a notch. You can't win the race in qualifying. Went out, put a decent time on. We did have a mechanical misalignment break in the back during qualifying, which kind of explains what the car started feeling a little weird during qualifying. But it was a good shakedown, and we got to fix that problem that night. You know, big hats off to our chase crew who found a machine shop in Ensenada and remachined misalignments last minute before the start of the race. Start of the race, day one, we're going from Ensenada to San Felipe. We felt good. We started pretty far up front, and we had really good pace. I don't know the exact number because there were some issues with timing that day, but we qualified, or we finished within our class, I think top 4 or 5 that day. Day two, we're going from San Felipe to Bay of LA. Talked my cousin Todd into reluctantly driving the car this year, and he ended up driving 2 of the days, which Todd's the one that got me in the off-road. He threw me in a 12 car in Barstow when I was younger, so we'll blame it all on him. So Todd hops in the car, good starting position. Coming out of town in San Felipe, we had an issue where the front skid plate hardware kind of ripped out and the skid plate bent backwards underneath the car. I was chasing that day. We got there, we hopped out, and a couple of us tried getting underneath the car and tightening the skid plate. We did the best we could. At that point, we lost probably 30-something minutes, got passed by a bunch of cars. Gave them an angle grinder just in case, and unfortunately, later in the day, they had to use the angle grinder and just cut that skid plate off. Collectively, we probably lost 45 minutes, and in doing so, had to sit behind a lot of cars. But they did a really good job that day of picking off people and fighting through the dust to get back up to where hopefully we should have belonged. Okay, so I get back in the car on day 3. We're going from Bay of LA to San Osio, and we're already kind of a little bit further back than we wanted to be just because of the events that happened the day before. And first thing in the morning, big silt, big dust, and we're just eating it. And Chris and I are just trying to make our way as safely as we could and try to pick off as many people as we can. And we did. We actually were making up a lot of positions that day. Stage 3, unfortunately, we started feeling a vibration in the front end, and then all of a sudden we felt a really big vibration. It felt like the drive shaft was going off and broken in the center console of the car. We pulled over, we spent about 30-40 minutes trying to remove the circlip, get the drive shaft out. At that point, when we couldn't get it out, we decided, well, you know what, we're just gonna drive this thing in, put it in two-wheel drive, and the noise slowly was starting to get better, which to me, that means it's a front diff and a pinion. Sooner or later, we lost all the pinion teeth and we were driving in two-wheel drive doing 90 miles an hour as if nothing had happened. So finished that day strong, although we were on the side of the road for about 45 minutes. Day 4, Todd hops back in the car reluctantly. After day 2, he said he was done, but he hopped back in the car for day 4. We're going from San Osio to Loretto this day. And They hopped in the car. They were doing really good in the morning. On the really high-speed sections coming to the Scorpion Bay, they lost the muffler in the car. So the can didn't come apart, but the entire tube and exhaust pipe fell out. And at that point, the exhaust wasn't flowing correctly through the muffler. They were down on power.
The power's down, no torque. But we'll just run it, but it's really loud.
Yeah, it's gonna be loud.
And we were blowing exhaust gas on some things like a taillight and some other wiring that we didn't want to. We lost the taillight and melted a couple things. They finished the day. They couldn't hear very good at the end of the day. They were yelling, screaming at each other, using hand signals.
What?
What?
Huh? Wait.
They got the car to Loretto in one piece. That night we hit an AutoZone, found a muffler, used our little battery operated welder, put all that back together, and we put a new muffler on the car that night. Got the car in one piece. Okay, day 5, Loretto to La Paz. The night before, we did some maintenance on the car, did an oil change, did some servicing on the primary clutch, just checked the sheaths and things like that. And we're in a decent starting position at this point, just because we picked off a lot of people the day previously. Chris and I are in the car. We head out of town. We're going up a pretty rocky wash, and instantly I knew something was wrong. We're going about 50 miles an hour. We're hitting the rev limiter. Something was going on with that primary clutch that we serviced. We pulled over, and at that point, we just started getting passed by cars, and it was just kind of heartbreak. We're sitting there. We finally kind of fought back to get a decent starting position, and here we are losing spots. We ended up having the primary clutch bolt back out. We torqued it the night before multiple times. We used all the right Loctite on the sleeve and everything. For whatever reason, it came out. We didn't have a T60 in the car, which we will moving forward, so we couldn't re-torque the primary clutch on. We had to wait for our chase crew to get there, re-torque it. We lost easily 45 minutes at that point. And so we're behind the 8 ball, we're in the dust, get back in the car and just put our head down and get out there and just try to pick people off. And that's what we did. We passed a lot of people that day, and we got the car into La Paz that night. Okay, the last day, day 6, and this is kind of the one that we broke in the last day last year, so everyone in the morning we're talking about, take it down a notch, we're already here, let's just get it home. And it's easy to say that, and then you get behind someone and you're kind of fighting for a position in the driver's seat, and that's the last thing that you're thinking of. But that's what we did that day. We fought where we could, where it was smart, we were trying to get positions, and where we couldn't, we would back off. We just wanted to get that car home. Chris and I passed the spot that we broke last year, which is this big kind of sheer rock face on the left-hand side we didn't see. We tore a corner off. Getting past that position and giving a high five that, hey, we at least made it past last year was a kind of a special moment of the car. Pushed on through all the little rocky cliff sections kind of coming into town. Hopped in the sand wash, Cabo into Cabo. People are lining the street, lining the washes and kind of rooting you on, which was awesome. And all of a sudden, that same noise we heard a couple days previous, that noise in the center console, we're like, uh-oh, this is probably another front diff. Threw the car into 2-wheel drive, ended up fully losing that front diff in the deep sand section where we really would have appreciated that all-wheel drive. But we made it home. We got to the finish. It was kind of a bittersweet, kind of a 2-year deal. We broke last year, finished this year. And what a great experience for everyone that was down there with us, for us in the car, the chase teams, just really great. We could not have done this without our sponsors. Primarily, we're running the Optima lithium battery. It powered us last year. Last year, we were doing R&D. We were doing testing. This year, it's the proven production battery in the vehicle. Powers us the whole way with no issues. We're on Yokohama Tires. We did not have one flat. We had a slow leaker that we changed in the pit just in case, but we think that was a valve stem. KMC Wheels, Sparco for all of our safety gear, LifeLine for all of our fire suppression, Baja Designs for our lighting. Luckily, we only need to use our lighting for our dome light working on the car at night, rock light. We didn't finish late enough to need those lights, but they were there if we needed them. Switch Pros for all the switching. Boxo Tools, all the chase trucks are outfitted with Boxo Tools, and that's what we carry in the car as well. Last year, we almost lost the radiator. This year, we decided to go with the rear mount radiator, thanks to Clint Berry at CBR for helping us out with that. Those fans moved some serious air. We were low temps the whole time, and many times I'd look back and the fans weren't even running because the radiator cools that well. Salazar Designs makes the cage, makes the rear spare tire holder and the front bumper that we ran the whole time. Fox Suspension, big shout out to Fox for helping us with the revalve of these live valve internal shocks. We did revalving at Barstow and at Placer City. Big shout out to them. Eibach Springs, we did a last minute spring change rate. That helped us a lot. And a big shout out to the Matlocks, Kristen and Wayne. They brought us into felt like their home, but into their group this year, and we stayed with them. We ate with them every night. And it was one big family. It was really cool. We share our passion for racing together. We share a lot of sponsors, Optima Batteries, Yokohama, and the list goes on together. So it was a really big group effort. It was great doing it with them. And a big shout out to Christopher Pavorde. We borrowed a lot of his chase gear. He came down with his Raptor with his buddies and Ben, who did a lot of the filming. Really appreciate that. It was a great experience like last year. And then a final thanks to everyone at Weistec, all my guys that I pushed to the limit. That we did a lot of late nights trying to get this car ready. We did a lot of last minute fabrication and suspension. It was more than just a prep. And yeah, it was a great time.
Probably f***ing shreds, bro. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say that for
You recording?
Some beer here. There's a swimming pool here.
Step away from the edge.
People that love you.
You're so selfish.
What about your family?
Oh my god. We learned sign language today.